Yeah, quick announcement before this video starts. I planned on making this one long video, but it turned out to be like an hour or 50 plus minutes after recording. So instead of doing one drop with all the badges for each position like I was going to mention, I'm going to make this a two-part video. Today I'll drop this for primarily on-ball guards, and then tomorrow or the day after, I'll drop the video for the best shooting badges and how we rank them for off-ball players. With that being said though, let's start the video. What's up y'all, it's JP, and today we're going to be ranking every single shooting badge in NBA 2K24. Now y'all know what I do. I'm mainly a primary ball handler, so from my perspective, I'm going to give y'all my ranking, but with me today I also have a very special guest. He's been on the channel before. Introduce yourself.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy TT, aka Black Sora, aka Chief Hakoda in the flesh, and we here to do this tier list, man. What's up?
Yes sir, so basically we're going to be giving two tier lists, one for primary ball handlers and one for more off-ball spot ups and scores. But I don't want to waste no more time. Let's get straight into ranking these badges. First off, we got Agent 3. Now Agent 3 is a tough one because me personally, I believe the mid-range is the key to scoring in this game. But if you're a 3 hunter, it's probably one of the most valuable badges there is on this game. So just for that reason alone, I have to give it an A tier.
No, I like it in the A tier because you're not always going to be, even though you are the main ball handler, main scorer, you're not always going to be dribbling into those shots. Sometimes you might be in the catch and shoot situation, so I do like it in the A tier for sure.
Yeah, like I said, and spoiler alert, if you can get 3 mid-ranges off, especially if you're in Rise, then you get heat check. That next 3, it doesn't really matter if you dribble into it or do whatever. Open up your game in different ways is what allows you to hit those 3s off the dribble at a more consistent rate. That's why I'm giving it A and not S. Guard up. Man, oh man, this is a tough one. I was actually low-key discussing this beforehand with TT Sora, the wing whisperer himself, but I think I have to go A tier with guard up. Off of the mid-range, it's a hot take, I know, but off of that mid-range, a lot of the times, and it combines with other badges, I feel like it's so useful.
It's useful in those particular situations and getting you out of tough situations. That's what I would say.
And you really don't have to worry about if you're going for that mid-range pull-up, if it's going to be contested. If you see that you have that space off that one step or two, like I always tell y'all in my videos, guard up and another badge that we're going to cover in the future is going to be so crucial in making those shots. And you'll see that if you're a shot creator especially, how much times guard up pops for you and activates. So yeah, I think I have to give it A tier, especially as a more shot creating type point guard. But if you're a 3 hunter, obviously you might view it as lower because you're mainly going for like quick stops, peaks. You might dex off the ball here and there, but you're not going for guard up shots where the defender is necessarily near you. You're looking for open shots. Guard up in that mid range activates, I can't even tell you how many times. So yeah, A tier for me. Limitless range. I can't lie to you, one of the most valuable badges in the game. S tier as a guard. That 96 that gets you gold, when I tell you what opens up the floor so much, it's crazy. A couple steps in front of half court and a couple steps behind the 3-point line, they have to guard you from there. So when you have this badge on gold, yeah, you're just a threat everywhere, and on top of that, it's going to open up your playmaking as well. Any thoughts, Sora?
With that one, I see a lot of conversations surrounding this badge in particular, with a lot of people feeling like it doesn't work the way that it should or barely works. So to me, like with all of that kind of controversy surrounding it, kind of tough for me personally to have it up that high. I can definitely see how like it opens up the floor more for your team in your own game by being able to take those additional steps back. But is the boost that it gives actually worth it if the badge's performance isn't consistent?
You know,
that's where I'm kind of having that trade-off.
That's a perfect transition because I do have a build coming out soon that has limitless on gold. I don't know if I showed y'all that yet. So I guess the conversation is more of limitless bronze, silver versus gold. But if you ask a lot of these pro and point guards, limitless gold allows you to shoot comfortably off of the 3-point line. Without it, it's like, yo bro, I really can't shoot here without limitless. That's why I feel like, you know what, I'll actually change it to A tier, because if you're a guard that 3 hunts but doesn't necessarily shoot off of the line, or if you're a 6'6", for instance, limitless isn't as important to you or me as well. It's just tough, man, because with limitless gold on, I do tend to like space my game out more, but without it, I'm still just as valuable. So I understand your argument.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I think I have to put it A. Mini Magician, let's not even say no words about it. Possibly one of the best badges in the game, bro. What can I say? Spin shots, pull-ups, bro. Oh my goodness. Have Pro 2 pull-up on and have Pro spin on. You're good in the mid-range. One of the best shooting badges in the game, regardless of your position. Sora, tell them about it, man.
Hands down, my favorite shooting badge in the game. This badge, honestly, without this badge being as busted as it is this year, my playstyle, I started this year as just an inside out kind of guy, but once I figured out, hey, that mid-range shot is there 9 times out of 10, yeah, that badge shot up very high in my books after that.
Yeah, like you said, the inside out guy, defenses only played the 3-point line and the paint. So yeah, bro, the mid-range is just wide open, even on the comp level. It's really crazy. If you watch their games at the comp level, you'll see how much times they either just force the drive or force the 3. When that back end defender on the pick and roll or ISO rotates, they could just stop at that free throw line or elbow area and it's gonna be money. But like I said, Mini Magician, S tier, not even a question. Open looks, yeah, another one of those badges where it's just must have as a shooter. And a really interesting secret is that if you just put your mid-range up to what I believe is a 90 Sora,
yeah,
you're gonna be able to hit a catch and shoot 3 with this Open Looks Hall of Fame no matter what your 3-point rating is. Y'all see my bully build. I believe I have a 57 3-pointer on that, but my mid-range is a 92, giving me Open Looks Hall of Fame on top of another badge which we're gonna get into, and I'm able to green consistently off the catch in the corner or even on the wing or top of the key without heat check or takeover. Sora, any thoughts like dribbling the ball with this badge?
Yeah, that badge right there, I would say it's kind of one of those badges when you're talking about specifically the mid-range and getting like mid-range shot creation off. It's not a badge that you see pop up a lot because those shots do get contested quite often. But when you're a spot up, yeah, there's no badge in the game that I feel it helps spot ups nearly as much as Open Looks does. That badge completely transforms. Like my main builds usually have sub 80 3-pointer, and I'm able to knock shots down.
Dare I say it's a modern day hot zone hunter?
You might be onto something there.
On Sunday, they took out hot zone hunter, gave us Open Looks. But yeah, like you said, in the mid range, depending on the space you create, you're either going to get guard up activated with other badges or Open Looks activated. And like you said, bro, it's just really money because people are playing that 3-point line paint dunk game because everybody just calls cuts or 3 hunts or rim runs. That's all most people do in this game. So once you get that in between game, Open Looks really helps you out on those mid ranges. Moving on though, post fade phenom. This is a really tough one for me because it's a very specific play style that this caters to. And as a dribbler, a short guard, or even 6'6", you might not find yourself using this as much. Just for that, and I hate to do this, but again, we're gonna have a second half of this video based on wings, off ball, or more bigger builds to address this. But for me as a guard, I might have to put a C tier. I hate to do it because on my bully build, off that free throw line with the strength post fading, it's really money. But yeah, as a regular guard, you're really not gonna be using this as much, but you might want to get it to bronze if anything.
All right, so my perspective on that badge. I make big guards, big wings with a lot of strength on it, and what a lot of people don't realize about that post fade phenom is it kind of has like that blinders dead eye effect where if somebody's contesting you, it basically negates it.
Oh,
like you're
really?
not hitting those shots without that badge. You're not. It's just not happening. So for me, specifically speaking towards the big guys that like to get down in the post and have a little bit of strength in their build and like to work in that mid range, that badge is probably B tier or low A.
You see, again, that's why I have him here. It's a different perspective, but again, we're gonna re-rank these based on his perspective as an off-ball player, a bigger wing, or even a power forward center type build. But for now, this tier list is for guards and primary ball handlers. Slippery off ball as a shooting badge, because when I think of slippery off ball, I mainly think about Spotfinder. But slippery off ball, I don't know if it's that valuable. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all.
So from my perspective, that badge, when you're cutting, the difference between a bronze and a silver is huge. I don't have a build that gets it at gold level, but I can feel the difference when I have it on silver versus on bronze.
That's
you get by your defenders way quicker. It's like you leave them in the dust. There's not, I would say that silver, slippery off ball, counters gold off ball pest for sure.
I know what you're saying in terms of cut, right? But like I said, my perspective, I'm a primary ball handler. Slippery off ball, I'm dribbling the ball up the court. I'm not really spending a lot of time off of the ball, and I'm not spending a lot of time cutting. And if I'm gonna move around, instead of slippery off ball, I'm gonna be using Spotfinder, which we're gonna get into. So just as a primary guard, and I know, listen, yeah, it's detailed, but I know y'all gonna have your arguments in the comments. You know what? Feel free to express your opinions. But we're gonna have to move on from that. Space Creator, oh man. Space Creator is one of them ones, man. I wouldn't say it's S tier, only because shooting step backs like from the 3-point line isn't consistent. But from the mid-range, oh my, Space Creator Hall of Fame, you're gonna be making so much step backs tied with guard up and blinders and deadeye that I have to put it A tier. Like,
yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. That badge right there causes a lot of problems for defenses, especially with the ankle breaker boost that you get per level too. That badge is it literally creates space. Like, it does exactly what it says it does.
Yeah, for my playstyle especially, I usually run this badge on at least gold. If my build doesn't get it gold, I'm usually making adjustments to make sure I get it gold or higher. It's one of those badges where if you're a shot creator, it's just so useful because on top of your spins and pull-ups, when the defense starts playing those, you need another move. And that step back or space creator is the guarantee that you're going to get that space you need and maybe even break their ankles to get that space in the open shot. And on top of that, when you made 2 or 3 shots in a row, then you can start doing your step backs to the 3 because you already have takeover built up. So yeah, that's why I think that this badge is A tier. Now Spotfinder, a new badge in this game. I'm not gonna lie to you, people might hate me for this. I'm putting it A tier. When you have Spotfinder gold and you tap R2, do you know you can go from the wing to the other wing in like less than a second, it feels like?
No, I didn't know that. Wow, that one took me back. Okay.
So even as a primary ball handler, right? And you guys have seen in my videos, I'll pass to my center, I'll fake one way, tap R2 and go the other way, and I'm getting a 3 off. You know how valuable that is as a primary ball handler, that you don't have to dribble as much as you want to? It's like having a heat check, right? If you went 4 possessions in a row trying to 3 hunt, then the next possession you pass to your safety or even pass to your corner, use a Spotfinder badge to run around, you're gonna be wide open, bro. I promise you. I know as a spot up is different, so tell me your perspective.
As a spot up, yeah, that badge, if I'm just sitting on the 3 and waiting for like a pass, like once the defense rotates or something like that, I'm not really counting on Spotfinder to make my shots happen unless I'm maybe popping up to the wing for the shot or something of that matter, right? It does activate when a cut is called. So it doesn't only boost jump shots. Let's be clear on that.
Very true, very true.
However, I feel personally, if you have Spotfinder in A, you gotta at least have Slippery in C. Because if somebody's bumping you, so say for example, you fake one way, the guy doesn't bite, and he's cutting you off going back into that other direction that you want to go, right? After you hit your Spotfinder, Slippery off ball is going to slide you around him.
Okay, here's my argument against that, right? As a primary ball handler, of course, I'm dribbling, the lock is pressing me or not. Usually when I pass to O'Neal, who's our center, when I fake that one direction, the lock overcommits. So most times, they do not get that contact animation off the ball. That's the only reason why I would have this at A and Slippery at D. Because locks on the ball, once you pass it, I don't know, for some reason, on ball locks are not good like off ball defenders. I've found that to be the case a lot of the times. That's why I would have that disparity between A and D. But I get what you're saying, like in the corner on the wing as a spot up, it's tougher to rank Spotfinder so high, and we're going to get into that. But as a primary ball handler, this is going to be your second way to score if you're trapped. It's a bailout option, and when I tell y'all it's so valuable, pass to your center if they're setting the screen, or pass to your wing if you're isoing. Go one way and just Spotfinder back. Tap R2 or right trigger if you're on any console. You're going to see the animation I'm talking about. You really just fly the other direction. You're going to be wide open for another catch and shoot. Gotta move on though. Blinders. Is there much to say about this badge?
Nope.
It's like, it's just automatic S tier. Mid-range, 3-pointer, whatever you want, this activates. Little space, that defender closing out a little bit late to your side, you have them crabbed. This badge pops up. It's one of the most important badges to have as a guard, no matter what your playstyle is. Even if you're a driving and crabbing mid-range type build, or a post type point guard, this badge pops up so much times, bro. It's so useful.
So for me personally, when I go into that one dribble pull up in that mid range, a lot of the times my dude ends up on the side of me. Blinders is activating. That badge right there and the boost that it gives, it's absolutely insane, especially once you get into like stacking your badges and midi magician, green machine, blinders, Deadeye, they all popping off at the same time. Man.
Yeah, but blinders,
But
post fades.
that's a badge I feel actually activates more this year. I feel like they did a sneaky little buff with that badge.
Low key, right? Bro, I'm telling you, it pops up on post fades, drill pull-ups, crabs. Even sometimes where I feel like Deadeye might be the badge that pops up, blinders are the ones that pops up. So yeah, automatic S tier, a must have. I say gold or higher. Do what you want with that information. Catch and shoot as a primary on ball guard, I still have to give it A tier. Because like I said, with my playstyle, according to what I said with that Spotfinder stuff, Spotfinder and catch and shoot are gonna tie together. So when you pass the ball or even on fast breaks, you need the ability and just the boost that catch and shoot gives you to get quick threes off if you're leaking out in transition or if you're dexing back and forth in the half court. I don't think it's as important as the S tier badges. That's the only reason why I give it A tier. The catch and shoot as a primary ball handler is still very important to get you those quick, easy threes when you need them to build your takeover. And then from takeover, you can get mambo or playmaking take, whatever your playstyle is.
I'm not mad at that placement right there. Not at all.
Claymore, man, as a primary ball handler, I'm sorry, man. You're moving around all the time, bro. As a primary ball, it has to go bottom tier.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, you're going to be waiting. If you're off the ball, right, you're probably going to wait for a screen. You're going to wherever the open space is so that you can get a pass back or something. You're not just standing in one spot for a second and a half waiting for a badge to activate. That's not you.
You know
that's
what?
not you.
Based on the fact that I think Claymore is D tier and is just really useless as an on-ball guard, I think I might have to move Slippery Off Ball up one because I don't believe like that's as important as Slippery Off Ball. Slippery Off Ball is definitely a little more important than Claymore as an on-ball guard because like you said, when you do make that contact, you want to be able to get around them at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But with Claymore, you really don't need it as an on-ball guard, on-ball like primary ball handler type build.
At all, man. At all. Like, that badge is strictly for the people that either are not comfortable with dribbling or don't have the ability to dribble on their build.
Comeback kid. This is a weird one because when you're down, what is it, 7 or more points? That's when it activates.
Yep.
But it really does work so much. I don't know if you ever noticed, right? In games like you're trailing, like I said before, it pops up on every three and you feel like shooting's a lot easier when you're down like that. But that's because if you have Comeback Kid Hall of Fame on top of all of your other badges, shooting becomes a lot easier. Now, the reason why I'm struggling between maybe A and B tier is because you're not planning to be losing in games. Or if you're a good shooter, as a primary guard, you're not going to be down a lot if you know how to get to your spots.
Right.
So for my
and you might end up in like a weird middle ground where you might score one, you're now down like 2 possessions, a 4-point game, they get another 3 up, now your comeback kid's activated for that possession. You might get caught in that weird middle ground where you don't know if, hey, next time I go down the court, it might be active, it might not.
Exactly.
It's a very situational badge.
Especially in like more competitive scenarios. Like you said, you're going to be in that middle ground. It's going to be between that 2 and 7-point game. So a lot of your shots will not activate this badge. That's why I can't put it A tier. But if you're down 7 or more,
said,
like
you're not accounting for that though going into the game.
Yeah, you're not accounting for being down going into the game. But if you just so happen to be down 7 or more points, this badge is something that you need at a higher level because it makes shooting so much easier. On top of the fact that it combines with every other badge that we put in this tier list so far, I don't think I can go below B with this one. Yeah,
no, that's fair. I mean, we've pulled off some insane comebacks too.
Exactly, the comebacks that happen because your whole team is gonna have this badge equipped, especially if you have 5 shooters. I feel like that I have to put it at a B tier only because if you're down like past that 7-point margin, this badge is gonna pop up on no matter what shot that you take. So it's not A tier, it's not S tier, it's not one of the most important badges in the game. But if you find yourself in that situation where you're losing by 3 possessions, you need a badge like this to help you out. Corner specialist as a guard. Ooh, this is a tough one. I remember in 23 a lot of times guards would call the cut from the corner just so that they could take the corner 3 fade, right?
Yep.
But I don't see that happening as much this year, I'll be honest with you.
No, so, they with the nerf that they did to those fading 3s, you definitely don't see people looking to spot hunt in that manner. They definitely more often go go for, hey, I'm gonna behind the back here. Hopefully I can get just a regular shot off here. They're not looking to just fade around the screens anymore.
Exactly. So like what he just described, I wouldn't necessarily put this A rank. The reason I wouldn't put it below B is because for those fast break transition threes, you're going to be running to the wing or the corner as a guard unless you're catching it at half court. So there's not a lot of scenarios where as a guard, you're going to find yourself in that corner. Don't get me wrong, we're going to get into the other perspective as a wing slash off ball spot up, but for as a primary ball handler or guard, I believe it's B tier because you're not going to find yourself in that scenario often. Deadeye, man, oh man. When I tell you the mid range with all these badges, maybe not open looks, but with Midi Magician, Blinders, and Deadeye combined, you're going to be automatic if you had that Midi Magician at 92. What's Deadeye Hall of Fame? 98 mid-range, I believe?
I think so. Let me double check that, actually.
But even having the badge at a gold level, that mid-range is going to be automatic. With the late closeouts, it's still money, especially with Pro 2 Fade. And then, off the screens, if you're a 3 hunter, 6'3 guard, 6'4 guard or smaller, it's so helpful because off those peaks and pockets that you're trying to shoot into, you're going to be able to green so much more shots even with that late closeout. And you'll see Deadeye popping up, especially combined with Blinders if you're trying to go for those crabs, or if it's the center trying to pick up on the back end but they're too late. So for 3 hunters or people like me who attack that in-between game and threes, this badge has to be S tier for me. It just pops up so often and combines with Blinders and Mini Magicians so much that I can't see myself without this badge at a high level.
Yeah, given how badges can stack in this game, that's definitely has to be a high tier badge. The boost that it gives, and like I was saying, just how badges work and the boosts combining together, it has to be an S tier badge for sure.
Free points. Now this badge I am so confused by, I can't lie to you, because the amount of times I've seen 30% go in and 12% go in when I have a 99 free throw and miss. I don't know, man. It says it's in the clutch, I get that, but I've missed clutch free throws with a 99 free throw rating, and I've seen people with 70 and below hitting those same free throws that I'm taking, so I really don't know where to rate this. Sorry, any help here?
To me, I feel like this badge is going to probably be a B tier badge. I don't feel, just because you're going to be going for your free points or your free throws more than you're going to be shooting a post fade or like spotting up as a on-ball guard. You're hoping that you can draw fouls and things of that nature, especially in a close game. And like you said, the boost is there. It is helpful. But somebody that knows their free throw animation down to a T will be making those free throws regardless.
By the way, that's rare. As y'all know, free throws is probably the hardest shots in this game. You cannot green them consistently. But like you said though, as an on-bar guard, you probably do want that higher free throw. I usually recommend 90 plus on my builds because as well as clutch situations where free points is going to activate, those transition take fouls, you get free points and free bonuses to your takeover if you get those free throws. So yeah, I do see the need for it at B tier. Higher than post fade, higher than slippery, maybe, yeah. Because as an on-ball guard, you want those easy points. And don't get me wrong, I don't miss a lot of free throws when I'm the one shooting it. But it just gets me upset when I miss one, then I see somebody with a 70 or lower greening a 30%, 60% one. Okay, moving on. And last but not least, Green Machine. The reason why I want to give it S tier, but I'm sort of conflicted, is because it has a prerequisite. You have to green, what is it, 2 or 3 shots in a row in order for this to start activating?
I think it doesn't activate after the first one.
They may have changed it this year. I'm not as sure, but I know you have to green a shot before it activates. Yeah, like I said, you need to green a shot before it's able to activate. But once you get Green Machine to activate, you hit 3, 4, 5, 6 shots in a row, you might as well have takeover. Green Machine is going to carry you so far as an on-ball guard when you're hitting your shots. And we all know there's games where you really can't hit. And I think that's why I'm leaning towards A tier. Only because knowing this 2K, knowing how it gets, you'll go 2 or 3 games shooting really good, but then there's that one game, no matter what you're doing, you're gonna miss. So Green Machine will not activate and it's not gonna be relevant. Most people on this game are really shooting, let's say, sub 50%, right? Yeah. So how relevant is Green Machine for those type of people? That's why I can't really put it S tier, as much as me as a good shooter wants it to, because most people aren't gonna see it activate as much as they would want to. That's my opinion on it.
From my perspective,
across. Yeah.
I like to think of this badge as like the snowball badge. When you can get this thing going,
Sure.
it's like
Come
you're
on.
unstoppable on the court. You can do anything that you want to. But like you're saying, with those games where for some reason you miss your first 3 shots, you make one, then you miss your next 3, you end the game like 2 for 7, 2 for 8, whatever, and you don't get to see this badge pop up.
And you're shooting good shots on top of that too.
Yep. So from that perspective, I understand why it's not an S tier best badge in the game, just because those games do happen and they happen to everybody.
And it happens like way more often than in the previous 2Ks. In the previous 2Ks, if you was a good shooter, automatically Green Machine is S tier. But even if you're a good shooter on this game, there's gonna be those couple of games where you just taking the same shots, same timing, but you're just off, missing everything, no matter what you do. And just for that reason alone, I can't put it S tier. I have to leave it A tier, especially as an on-ball guard using screens or isoing. So like I said at the start of the video, when I originally recorded this, I only planned on making one video addressing both on-ball and off-ball players, but it turned out to be way too long, so this video was just the first half. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, get us to 50 likes, and then I'll drop the second half of this video addressing the best badges for the off-ball players. But if you disagreed or have any opinions on our rankings, make sure to comment below. I'm willing to hear y'all opinions and get into an actual discussion with y'all, so make sure to leave that comment like I said. But as usual though, y'all, like, comment, subscribe, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace. How you can't tell time but you watch face? You're not on real time if you watch fake.